Hi everybody, so Valentine's Day is coming up and I am practicing some entrees to decide which one I want to do on the big day. And my first one is one that I've made a lot. It is ravioli, and homemade ravioli is just out of this world good and doesn't even compare to the frozen kind. But it's so simple to do, you just have to prepare, okay? And you can do this several days in advance, even a week or two, if you have the time to do that. So what I've taken is, with my KitchenAid, I put in 5 whole large eggs, and I'm going to combine that with some OO pizza flour and some semolina flour. So 2.5 cups of the OO flour and 2/3 a cup of semolina. And in the flour section of your grocery store, most grocery stores have these unique flours now. And the semolina will help that pasta keep its shape as you're making it and cooking it. And the OO flour is just a more tender flour, so it makes for a softer pasta. So these are really good choices, but if all you have is all-purpose flour, that works just fine. So I've used that as well when I'm in a pinch. So we're going to put these 2 flours in with our 5 large egg yolks, and we are going to put it on medium-low speed for about 5 minutes until it forms a tight dough that springs back when you touch it. And then we're gonna let it rest for 20 minutes before we actually roll it into sheets to be able to fill it and make it ravioli. So while your ravioli dough is resting, you're gonna make the filling. And all that is the zest of 1 lemon to add brightness, a cup of whole milk ricotta cheese, a 1/2 cup of grated Parm, and a 1/2 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. And to that, we also need to add some seasoning. So just a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, a few cracks of ground pepper, as much as you like, or as little as you like, a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Mix that all together, and that is your filling. Hi everybody, so my pasta dough has rested for 20 minutes, and I took that dough and I divided it into 6 4-ounce portions. I've got them underneath the towel resting so they don't dry out, and I took one of those 4-ounce pieces of dough and I just rolled it with my rolling pin until it was like a 1/2 inch thick. Now, typically in all the years past when I make homemade ravioli, it is a real labor of love because I roll it out by hand. But luckily for Christmas, my mama got me this awesome pasta attachment for my KitchenAid, and I couldn't be more happy. In the past, I've had pasta makers and kind of given up on them because it didn't work like I wanted, but this has been a real dream come true. So all we're gonna do is take this dough and roll it into sheets. If you don't have this, you can roll this out by hand. You wanna roll it in each of those 4-ounce portions until it is a 1/16 of an inch thick. So ravioli needs to be very thin. But with this attachment, I'm gonna take it all the way from 8 down to 1, so it can be very thin dough that we are going to put our filling in. So I'll show you how I'm gonna do it with this. So we simply turn it on to the low setting, and on the 8 dial for the roller, we're going to push it through. If it struggles, you can roll it a little bit thinner, but you want to take it through number 8 a couple of times. Here it comes, until it's more manageable. I only make homemade ravioli for special holidays like Valentine's or birthdays because it is time consuming, but if you do it earlier in the day, say for instance when the kids are out to school, or earlier in the week when you've got some time just to breathe, then put on your favorite movie and go ahead and make this, and it's so much fun. So what I'm going to do is make all of this ravioli and then put it in the freezer for just a little while until it's solid, and then I can put it into bags and keep it for however as long as I need. But what I'm gonna do today is just freeze it until it's time for supper, and it cooks in a matter of just minutes until it floats up on top. So fresh pasta cooks so much quicker than the prepackaged kind that we get at the grocery store. So I've got it on number 5 now. And I'm gonna keep working it, going down the dial each time. And I can get anywhere from 6 to 9 raviolis per sheet, just because I'm not perfect. So my raviolis are not perfect either. And I put a tablespoon of that ricotta cheese mixture 2 inches apart all the way down the sheet. And I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. We're on number 3 now. So we're almost to 1. And I only do 1 piece of dough at a time. And then I go ahead and I prepare it with the cheese, and then I cover it up with the towel, just because I don't want it to dry out. And I'm not super fast at this. So this way, with only 1 piece at a time, there's no pressure on how fast I have to work. Now, to go with your ravioli, I have made a marinara sauce, the Dr. Marinara that I showed you how I make in my Ninja Wood Fire Grill pizza recipe. So all I did was simply take a couple of tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, a half a cup of minced garlic, which I know is a lot, and 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning and some salt and pepper. And I have sauteed that until it absorbed all of that olive oil on low, because you don't want to burn that garlic, which happens so quickly. And then I put 2 jars of Newman's own marinara in it, and then I just leave it on the stove and occasionally walk by and stir it on low for 1 to 2 hours, and then it's ready for dinner. My oldest son, Knox, does not like pasta, which I think is blasphemous. But when I make these raviolis, he actually eats it, and he loves the marinara in the doctored style that I do it. So we're going to take some flour and dust our surface here, and then put down our sheet. Now, we're gonna take our ricotta filling, and I'm gonna put a tablespoon every 2 inches along our dough. And I'm down to the bottom of the barrel because I've been making these raviolis for a while. So this will be my last sheet. Let's see if I can get enough cheese to make 1 more ravioli. That'll be a little one. Now, you want to start on one end of the ravioli and work your way down to push the air out of it, because if it's got air pockets in the ravioli, then it fills with water when you boil it, and that's not as pleasant. Now, take a little bowl of water and a pastry brush, and you are going to lightly dampen that brush and put it in between each ricotta filling, like so. And then brush it all along one edge. Then take the other half of the dough and fold it gently over so it covers the entire ricotta filling. Then, starting on one end of the dough, let's make sure you can see it. Okay, starting on one end of the dough, we're gonna work all this way to push that air out of it. So you're going to push the dough down so it sticks to the other side of it, and you also want to push around that cheese so there's no air in it, okay? And then work down to the next one, push that air out, and push down. Now I'm going to use a pizza roller to divide these, but you could just use a knife if you like, and you could use a fork to crimp it, but my pizza cutter has a little ruffled shape on it, so I think that looks nice, and I'm just going to use that. Okay. All right, still pushing down. How many did I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 out of this particular sheet, which was all the cheese that I had left, so that kind of worked out. Okay, now we'll take our pizza roller and see one side's straight, the other side's not. I'm just going to take that ruffled edge and then divide each one of these raviolis. And you want to keep your surface well floured so it doesn't stick to it. Okay, and then we've got some scraps, and you can either squeeze that back together and make some more raviolis, or you can use that when you're making some pasta at another day, but it will definitely freeze for a good couple weeks. Okay, so now that I've got each ravioli done, I am just going to squeeze it one more time because I'm paranoid that my cheese is gonna come out. And I've got a baking sheet here with a silicone baking mat, or you could use parchment that I have lightly floured, and I'm just going to put some more raviolis on it in addition to the ones that I did with the previous sheet. And I've got a whole sheet pan of this in the freezer that is getting nice and solid. And now this will go into the freezer too, and then I can put them in a Ziploc bag to keep them from getting hurt in any way. And then I'll boil some water and salt it heavily like the ocean, and then it only takes a couple of minutes for these sweet babies to float up in the water and be ready to eat in some wonderful marinara with a sprinkle of Parmesan cheese on it.